Hey, what's going on guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are creating live character counter using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. It's gonna be a very fun project. Let me show you quickly a demo of this application. Now, as you can see, when I type something into the field, we can see the live character counter updating, and we can see how many characters that string that we are typing contains. Before we open Visual Studio Code and start coding this application, if this is your first time right here, my name is Usman. I am a self-taught web developer and I make tutorials about web development. And if that's something that really interests you, make sure you subscribe and also make sure you hit the notification bell so that you don't miss anything. Let's start creating this project right now. Inside VS Code, I will create a file called index.html. I will also create style.css, and our JavaScript file will be app.js. Let's create the boilerplate. I will hit emit and I will create my boilerplate. Here for the title, I will say live character counter with JavaScript. Okay. Inside the body, we will have a div with the class of container, and inside this container we will have an h1 called live.js, live character counter with JavaScript. And below this, we will have text area. And this text area will have an ID of text area. And we will also have one more div, which will be with the ID of counter, and we will leave it empty. We will link our CSS file. So I'm going to say link CSS, and above the div and before the end of the body, we will link our script. So I'm going to say script, and I'm going to say app.js. All right, let's quickly open this with live server in the browser and see what we have. We have this. We can resize this. We will make it non-resizable with CSS. I will show you how. So let's start styling this quickly. I will open style.css and I'm going to do a basic reset. So I'm going to say star. I'm going to say box sizing border box, padding to be 0, and margin to be 0. Okay. Below this, we will style the container. So I'm going to say dot container, and the container will have a width of 100%, a height of 100 VH. It will take the whole viewport, the whole page. The display will be flex, align items to the center, justify content center, and also text align center. And also we will give this container a position of a relative, because we will put the counter div in an absolute position. So the parent container will have to be relative. And when we save now and open the browser again, we will see them in a row, but we want them, I'll say flex direction column, and that will position them in a column. So if I open again, you will see them in a column. Okay, let's quickly grab an emoji as well. So I'm going to say fire emoji, and I'm going to open the first link and just copy this emoji, come back to the code inside index.html, and I'm going to place it right here So I will paste it right here. Okay. And then come back and we will see the emoji right next to the end of the H1. Right. All right. Let's continue styling this. So for the text area, so I'm going to say ID text area. I will say resize to be none, and I will disable resizing of the text area. So if I open again, we will see that we cannot resize it anymore. Let's give this text area width and height. So I'm going to say width, let's say 600 pixels, and height of maybe 400 pixels. Let's see. So yeah, it's much bigger right now. Let's give it a placeholder as well. I forgot to do that. So inside index.html, here for the text area, we will say also placeholder, and we can say type your text here, ... Save, come back, and we can see the placeholder. Come back to Visual Studio Code, style.css, and continue styling this. So let's say font size of 19 pixels, some padding of 10 pixels. Hit save, and we will see that the font got larger. Okay, and give this a bit of a margin. So margin 20 pixels top and bottom, and 0 pixels left and right. Right, so we have this at the moment. Let's also increase the size of the H1. So I'm going to say H1 font size. So font size of that will be 30 pixels. Hit save, open, and we can see the size. Let's make it actually bigger than this. Let's make it 50 pixels and see how it will look. Okay, this looks better to me. And now we have to also style and position the counter div, which will say how many characters we have. So to do that, we can say, we gave this an ID of counter, so we can target this by saying hash counter, ID of counter. That will be, let's give it a background color just to see it first, and some width and height. So width 100 pixels, height of 100 pixels. And let's see where it is. Well, it's right here. All right. We have to position it inside this text area. So to do that, what we can do, we can play with the absolute positioning. So I'm going to say position to be absolute, and we will say right 350 pixels and bottom 150 pixels. Let's see where this will put it. Well, it's here, so we have to move it a little bit up and right more. So we can say 400 pixels and 200 pixels right here, and it's right here at the moment. Okay, let's play with it again. Let's say 220 pixels and right of 450 pixels. Okay, save. It's on the perfect position. Let's move it more to the right. So right 500 pixels, even more. Okay, so 600 pixels will be better, I believe. Yeah, we want it here. Now let's decrease the size of this. So let's make it 50 pixels and height 50 pixels. Maybe the background color can be chocolate, and the color of the text to be white. Font size of 24 pixels and font weight of bold. Hit save. Go back to the index.html, and here let's provide default value of 0. Open, and we can see it, but we can also position it and give some border radius. So for the counter div also we can say border radius of 5 pixels. Let's see. Or if we make it 25 pixels, that will make it circle, and it is circle at the moment. Okay, and we can say display flex, align item center, and justify content center. That will position the 0 in the center, and right now the 0 is in the center. All right, we are done with the styling and the HTML. Let's quickly implement the JavaScript logic so that you can see how this thing works. Okay, inside the app.js, we need to import this text area and the counter thing. So I'm going to say const text area equals document dot get element by ID, and we will get text area just like that. We'll also say const counter div to be equal to document get element by ID, and we will say, what was the ID we gave here? Counter. So I'll say counter, and we need to assign an event listener to the text area. So I'm going to say text area dot add event listener. That will be input event. Basically that will run on each keystroke, and we will also provide an anonymous function right here, and inside this function we will do the logic. So basically we have to grab the value which the user is typing. So we can directly say counter div dot inner HTML to be equal to text area dot value. So text area dot value, value dot length. Now if we save and go back to the browser and we start typing hello, it obviously also catches the spaces. Hello, this is my channel and I am teaching JavaScript. So you can see this has 57 characters with the white spaces.